world economically, and they're building 100 new coal plants as we speak. Do not expect these countries that are coming into the, unlike America, India is just becoming like a middle class nation where goods and services are flowing. China's got 1 billion people they've got to feed and keep on that even keel of upward mobility. They can't afford to interrupt that for a climate agenda. Only knuckleheads like the United States can do a make-believe, something with the climate, kill their economy, tax their people, screw up their dollar, buy their stuff from China and India, and then claim it as a victory for policy. Okay, but I don't want to be negative. I'm sounding negative, so I'm going to find something positive here to talk about. Mercedes, give us the positive.
You're going to find it, or I'm going to find it?
Well, you're talking. You got something positive, and I got something positive.
Well, we had big wins in the election this past week.
Thank you. A big positive. Talk about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we got the, we won in Virginia. The other guy, well, and I was just reading about this. You know, I really love the story of the truck driver who defeated the Senate president here. I'm looking for the article here. So driver Ed Durr on the verge of upsetting Senate president, longtime Dem leader. I mean, it's amazing to me, Lance. This guy spent $153 on his campaign. The Democrat spent close to $1 million, if not more. And it just, to me, it's such a great indicator of what 2022 is going to look like. If we can remember, Lance, if Republicans can remember these 13 Republican Congress people who voted for the infrastructure bill, that's the one thing I worry about. That a year from now, we're not going to remember these guys. We're not going to vote them out. But when you just put somebody up there, a truck driver spent $153, and he wins this state Senate seat. I mean, it's amazing to me. So I'm liking that. But did you see, Lance, did you see that they found mysteriously 12,000 ballots in New Jersey? And so now this Democrat, he's not going to, Steve Sweeney, he's not going to concede yet. That's what I was just reading.
Oh, no.
I don't know where these 12,000 ballots came from.
They have found mysteriously somewhere in the back of somebody's car, they had 20,000 ballots, and they're continuing to find surprise caches of ballots that were not counted. And so this is the New Jersey corruption machine. But I pray to God that this gets such visceral media coverage that everyone in America starts to question the New Jersey corruption machine, because they lost the governor's race and rigged that one. So they flipped it over to Murphy. They lost, this guy lost his race, but he's finding ballots now to give it to himself. And it's this game that was played on November 3rd with America. Ironically, November 3rd, a year later, as though God himself put his finger back on the scales.
And Lance, this goes to what you talk about every week, and plus what Bannon talks about, but it's this populist movement that's being stirred up. It's the fact that we had so many people in poll working booths that are there. They're just everywhere. They're just like crawling around everywhere. And I know you did a broadcast about this on your Facebook page, which go check out Lance's Facebook page, because when he's not here, he's either on his podcast or on Facebook. And you gave a great analysis of really what just happened in Virginia. And so I don't know if you want to pivot and talk a little bit about that, but I just thought that was a fantastic broadcast, and you had the kind of like a really neat kind of biblical revelation to go with it too.
I want you guys to get this. Go to Lance Wallnau, on Facebook, WALLNAU. Look for the page that has like 500,000 people on it. That's the one I posted.
Almost 700,000. I'm just going to give you a shout out. You got like 750,000.
I told you I do math like a Democrat.
And the podcast last month, this is, you guys, I just got to brag on Lance a little bit, 250,000 downloads. That's just the month of October. So go check him out on the podcast. We release a podcast there every single day. Lance is doing something similar to this, covering the news. So just want to encourage you.
250,000 downloads, and it took my mother a long time to do all those downloads, just so you guys know. Anyway, the part that I want to get to, and this is so important, is the formula, the Loudonize. I heard my buddy, I guess it was Bannon say it, that we need to Loudonize the national elections, because what we did was, we found the Achilles heel on the left. The Achilles heel on the left is, I'm telling you all this outrageous stuff, right? And you get upset about it. But boy, let me tell you, when you line up the school board and the critical race theory curriculum and the racism and the pornography that is in the content that is going to your children, and you give it to a mom who was a urban voter, white suburban, right?
Suburban.
White suburban voter, who voted against Trump because he turned them off. But you suddenly come between her and her little boy or girl, and you start pushing something on them that shames them, makes them confused, embarrassed, or hurts them. Mamma mia, you have just stoked a war with a she-bear who is going to claw you to pieces. So the school board started getting these moms showing up, and of course, when the moms show up, like you do this with your own husband, Larry, I see it. It's like, hey, you got to just do nothing. Then the guy's, suddenly he shows up right next to his wife, right? And now you got what looks like men and women, but you look at the firebrands of the women. And they're going at these school boards. I'll tell you what, I'll give this to the left. Liberals and activists, they got energy. Conservatives, I always say this. If you ever have a conservative riot, you ever hear of a conservative riot? Never in the history of America did we have a conservative riot. Because if we did that, we'd be walking around cleaning it up, doing window caulking. We'd be fixing the damage a day later and doing a white paper on it. So what you got here is a situation where the left made a mistake. They picked a war with the mothers. Then they doubled down. We got to pray they keep doing it. People write to me. It's so funny. They'll say, Lance, don't tell them the strategy. Because once you hear the strategy, how to beat us is easy. Back down on your Marxism. Back down on your critical race theory. It's like when they had the gay choir in San Diego a year ago singing, "We're coming for your children, we're coming for your children." The community said, shut the heck up and get back in the closet. The gay community said, shut up. You know why? Because they know that's the agenda. They plan on going to schools and conditioning your children with the stories and the role modeling so that they're going to be Marxist, LGBTQ oriented. So when the parents find it out, it takes a while. When the parents come out of their stupor and the awakening happens, this is the awakening. The awakening is 1/2 social and 1/2 spiritual. The social part is realizing what's happened with your culture. So the moms actually were going at the school boards, and stupid Merrick Garland up there in the bubble of arrogance that is the Mount Olympus of D.C., he sicks the FBI on them. Just like they did, by the way, with the Maricopa County, Arizona legislators and those people that were looking for election reform. They start threatening the FBI's coming in, and the FBI and getting the government prosecuting you, and then you're getting in the crosshairs of the Justice Department. It scares the average citizen. So they start to back up, but it didn't scare the soccer moms. It infuriated them. Oh boy, have we got a formula here, Charlie. So all over the country right now, we need to be looking at what are they teaching your little Johnny and Susie. Then we need to be telling stories. Don't just get the data. This is where conservatives screw up. You got to be a storyteller. You got to talk about how this is creating stress and confusion for little Billy who goes to school and he comes home and why am I white and what's wrong with me? That's the stories you got to get. That's the commercials you got to get. And trust me, the left knows what I just said. There's a bunch of people that spy on me that are going to go freak out that I said that, because that's where the root canal hit the nerve. See, you tell stories about how children are being destroyed, how little this young boy is African American, this one is Hispanic, and this one is white, how they had a friendship until the teachers told them that one was a victim and one was responsible, and it broke up their friendship. We need some good stories like that out of Hollywood. Oh, I know HBO isn't going to play it, but there's a Christian audience that'll make you millions of dollars. Come on, you story writers out there in the Arch Mountain, do something. My point is this. We take that strategy across the United States. They lost in Seattle. They lost in Minneapolis. The defund the police thing went down. They lost in Virginia in all branches. They lost in Nassau County, New York. They're losing because of the populist movement rising, and we'll be back in a flash. I got censored on 2 social media platforms. They wouldn't tell us specifically what I did. I can't let that happen. And so that's the reason why I found and discovered a place called Liftable. It's the coolest platform where we're going to be meeting in the future. It's where the uncensored news can come to you 24 hours a day. It's the place where we formed our whole new underground. Meet me there at the underground. I look forward to seeing you on Liftable TV.
Watch the podcast Ditto Cam at liftable.tv/Lance.